Rocket is the key fintech hub in Lithuania, where top creators and founders build the future of financial technologies and the next generation of sustainable innovations. Acting as a dynamic ecosystem, we provide space for networking, expertise sharing, and cooperation, enabling and contributing to the success stories of the finance, technology, and innovation sectors. During the past years, our hub has established a leading position as the home of fintech and core place for fintech community.
Good day and welcome to this event organized by Association Fintech Lithuania together with LAKARTA, Visa and Contis, and kindly hosted by our friends Rocket, home of fintech and sustainable innovation. My name is Paulius Tarbūnas. I will be moderating this event today. And today we have a very interesting topic. Just more than 5 years ago, everybody was talking that payment cards are dead and big payment scheme providers are in trouble. But it looks like the sector continues to grow. And not only that, but also it attracts new players, and many fintech companies are exploiting payment cards and existing card payment infrastructures to build their own innovative solutions. So today we will talk about all of that, about the latest marketplace trends. We will explain how to navigate in this complex payment ecosystem. What are the benefits and maybe drawbacks of issuing your own payment cards, and how to manage the card issuing project if you decide to embark on such a journey. Our agenda is very simple. First, we will hear from our speakers, and we can take some questions after each presentation, and I will leave some time for the questions at the end of the event. And without further ado, let me introduce our speakers. So first is Airidas Podžiūnas, who is General Manager at Contis. Hi, Airidas.
Good morning, everyone.
Airidas is fintech and banking professional with over 11 years of experience in senior banking roles, and currently he's focusing on European business for Contis. And prior to that, Airidas co-founded and developed fintech venture specializing in loyalty and mobile payments. Next is Helen Podsadny Nilsson.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Helen is head of fintechs for Nordics and Baltic region at Visa Europe. And she has more than 15 years of experience in digital transformation and international business expansion in payments, system as a service, startups industries. And in her current role, Helen is leading the engagement with the startup and fintech community and supporting partnerships for the Nordics and Baltics at Visa. And last but not least, we will have Marius Andrulevičius. Marius is Senior Project Manager in consulting company LAKARTA, which focuses on payment cards business. And Marius has vast experience in payment cards and issuing and acquiring business. And he has worked with clients of different sizes, from startup companies aiming to issue their first payment cards to the largest banks in the region. So let us start, and Airidas, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Paulus. Let me start my slides, which I guess you can see it, right?
Yes, go ahead.
So, yeah, thank you for confirming. So, in my presentation, I would like to cover and share with you our insights of European trends, use cases, and benefits of issuing your own branded payment cards. And I will share the most recent examples and also how you can think about issuing your own cards as well. Maybe that will give you some hints for your business. And first of all, let me tell a few words about Contis and what do we do in case you don't know or you don't know it fully. So Contis is the leading payment provider in Europe, where we work with our clients, which we call partners, and we enable them to offer payment solutions for their end users. So we work basically as a white label partner for many organizations and many companies. So just to give you a flavor, we have more than 200 clients for whom we enable their services to the end users, which is accounts, cards, and apps. And as a being super vendor in Europe, we have our white label banking as a service platform, and we can offer services basically in those 5 key areas, which is accounts and payments for end users, card issuing and processing for end users, which is the main topic of today's presentation and the event. We also have money in and out different channels like QR codes or tokenization, how the money can be moved in nowadays. We also offer value-added services for the end users, like onboarding them for using KYC, online procedures and online tools, also fraud monitoring or customer services. So, and everything what we offer, it is using our licenses. So we are a European player. We have European licenses from the Bank of Lithuania, electronic money institution license, also FSA license in the UK, also electronic money institution license, and we are principal member of Visa and MasterCard. So we offer those 5 of categories for the companies who either have their own license, or if they don't have their own license, they can use our licenses. So that's Contis in brief. And just to show you a few real-time examples what comes to cards, where Contis work with our clients to issue them in white label principle. So from our region, Paysera, which is a neobank, very well known, not only in Baltics, but also across different European countries. So then Admiral Markets, that's a financial services broker from Estonia, also working across the Europe. Change Invest, Estonian company in the crypto operations area. And then the big ones on a global scale, that's Binance, largest crypto exchange in the world. So we issue payment cards for them, and Swipe, also crypto operator, very modern one, and offering wide range of solutions. And all of those, just a few examples, as I mentioned, we have more than 200 clients for whom we are helping to issue cards. All of them works, those listed here works through Lithuanian entity. So we are very proud that through Lithuania, we can enable those kind of brands to go to market themselves. And just before I start a slide about trends, you can already see a very interesting trend in terms of visuals, that lots of them are black colored. So this is due to whatever reason, but our clients like to issue black cards. You can see like all of them have black cards in their portfolio. That's an interesting trend happening in terms of marketing and coloring. And now let's move to European trends. And those trends, as I mentioned, we see it very clearly as being in the market since Contis is in the market since 2008. So basically we have 13 years in the market, and throughout 13 years, even before this Fintech concept as such evolved, we already was in the market, and we can see how everything evolved basically, and how it was 10 years ago, like in this slide. So it's just a metaphor of 10 years ago, but the cards were exclusively a payment tool. And basically 10 years ago, it was issued by financial institutions which hold end user balance. And basically they offered cards basically to only for payments. So that was exclusive payment tool, just to make payments using your balance in the bank. And physical presence was required. Basically, the users had to go to the bank, order a card, do KYC, identify themselves. Then when they do shopping, they had to go physically to the store. And everything was around physical presence 10 years ago or earlier. And as such, it was very complex and very costly to launch a card to the market, and effectively only financial institutions and mainly banks or large credit unions could afford issuing on payment cards to the market. So that was how it was 10 years ago. And if we look how it is now, so now it's a huge shift in cards use cases, so huge shift. And I'll tell you why I say so. So, but nowadays it's embedded finance, which is the topic in the market. So, and effectively any company can become a fintech. So it doesn't need to be a bank to issue your own white label card. And this is possible due to complete shift to digital solutions without any need to be physically present. So there is no need for users to go to the bank to order a card, no need to do KYC physically. You can do everything online using our online modern tools. And also the cards themselves, they evolved just so they are no longer physical only cards. They can be used as a virtual cards. They can use through a device, for example, in the mobile phone or smartwatch. So the card itself became not as a payment tool, but as a kind of channel how you do all the other elements. For example, how to access your liquidity. So if you have some other forms of liquidity, like if you have crypto assets, or you have gold, or you have you want to take loan, so you use just card as a tool how to access it instead of being ultimately a payment tool. And it's also a key element of creating own ecosystem. And what does it mean? It means that more and more companies, since any company can become a fintech, they create their own ecosystem. And it doesn't need to be a neobank. It can be just an insurance company. It can be a gaming company, or any kind of other business which want to create their own financial ecosystem because they already have probably a big user base, or they want to build a big user base, so they can build everything quite easily. And the card will be a key element into this ecosystem, how to access their funds. Furthermore, marketing tool for brands. As you may see in the market, more and more brands use the cards as their marketing tool, and they fancy it with fancy colors, fancy materials, like besides plastic as metal or gold-plated, silver-plated cards made from real silver, real gold. Those also exist for marketing tools. And when the users are paying in the shop, so that's the way how to stand out when everyone sees your unique payment card and your brand on that. And it is also a way to enhance customer loyalty and differentiate in the market. So by offering end users your own branded card, it helps the companies to differentiate, to stand out in the market. And as I showed you in previous example, for example, Admiral Markets, which is financial stockbroker, they stand out in the market because they offer their card to their users who can access the liquidity instantly. And due to any company can become a fintech, and it's embedded finance, so it's quick and cost effective to launch a card in the market nowadays. So it's no longer an exclusive thing for the banks to be ultimate issuers of the cards. And in the next slides, I will show you the use cases. What are the most common use cases, how the cards are utilized, and why it's no longer just a simple payment method. So this is showing the most popular use cases, of course, challenger banks or neobanks, where everything basically started from. So however, it's very quick to go to market nowadays with next generation accounts, cards, and apps. And issuing card is very quick. So in a matter of months, anyone can start a challenger bank or neobank. Next generation crypto debit cards. The reason why it's next generation is because nowadays, using some modern technologies like Buffer in Contis, which won 2 weeks ago Innovation of the Year award at Cards and Payments prestigious nomination in London. it allows spending crypto without manually converting it to euros or dollars. So you just use that buffer solution attached to the card technology, and everything is instant. So you spend crypto wherever you want in the shop or e-commerce. What was not possible like even 3 years ago, you would have to convert cash. Creating ecosystem payments. So yeah, by creating your own ecosystem, you would want to give users easy access to the liquidity, and cards are just playing a key part as the most convenient way nowadays. Instant payments, and this is it can be, nothing can be more instant than the card payments. So for example, if there's a loan provider, you can allow loans to be withdrawn directly by card. So you don't need to transfer it to account, and this account will have to be in a financial institution, and it's a lengthy process what was a few years ago, but now everyone can just take loan and spend it instantly as soon as it's granted for this user. Same with insurance. No easier way how to spend insurance payments than in a card. Embedded finance, and yeah, this is what I talked that there are so many use cases how you can embed in your basically user base and in your portfolio offering, like different ways. So this is the most popular use cases how the cards are used nowadays, and there are two more categories, which one of them is increased focus during COVID-19. So this is specifically two trends picking up. It's care cards. It's basically the cards tailored to help doing shopping and purchases for those who are vulnerable and cannot go to do shopping themselves. So the idea is that you just issue the card with certain limitations, certain restrictions to somebody who is helping the vulnerable person, which goes to the shopping and make purchases on behalf of vulnerable person. And same serving under banks, since cash is becoming less and less preferred payment method. That means that more and more cards needs to be offered to the ones who couldn't get a card previously, and also for migrant workforces, including into that. And early stage trends, which is evolving right now, it's not matured yet. It's still on the early stage. Seller on demand. This is a very big potential, which means that anyone can access their salary before the salary payment date. So, for example, today is the 10th of May, and by using this concept, you can issue a card and allow your employee to access the salary for the past 10 days, already accumulated but not paid out salary. So it's instant access, and that would increase satisfaction of employees. And frictionless non-cash spending, which means that you can spend digital access through the card without a manual conversion. It can be gold, it can be crypto, it can be any other asset. So just when the user goes to the shop and tap it or do it e-commerce, so everything else happens in the back end, and it's instant spending. And my last slide here is the key benefits. What I see working with the clients across Europe is that there is no better time to create the card. The trend is currently happening in Europe, and the more and more value-added functionality to the cards is being added. So it's more and more compelling product and offering. And revenue opportunities are at the highest and barriers at the lowest it has been ever. And there are just different ways how you can build a solution. So you can build everything yourself, picking up different parts, or you can partner with companies like Contis, which can do many things for you on behalf of you. And in this way, cost can be reduced significantly. And digital first propositions, meaning that the users they will want yet another card, even though they have 2 or 3 cards already, because everything is digital. They can easily put it in their pocket through their mobile phone, for example. And better understand your customer. It means that big data is big thing nowadays. So by offering your own white label cards, you can see what is the customer behavior. You can understand them better and personalize your products according to their expenditure. So this is a big thing, big competitive advantage, and you can offer better services for them. And last point is you can focus on your core business instead of thinking how to launch a payment card, what technology to use, what experts do you need. Nowadays, you can basically just define your value proposition. You can define how you want to differentiate what card features you want in the market, and you just partner with the right credible partner, and it can help you go to the market very quickly and very efficiently. So I would say, yeah, that's the final word. Yeah, there are lots of benefits, and that's absolutely the best time to go to market right now and think, or at least think about your own branded cards. Yeah, so thank you for your attention, and that was
Thanks,
my...
Airdas. Thanks for a very interesting presentation. I'm going to have one question for you, but I will leave it towards the end of our event. So now let's move to the next speaker, Helen, who will talk about how to navigate the complex ecosystem of payments and go to market fast. Helen, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Let me share my screen. Here we go.
Yep.
So, yeah, hi, everyone. I'm very pleased to participate in this virtual event today, and very honored to represent Visa for the first time for me in the Baltic region. So today, I'm not going to tell you it's super easy to navigate in such a complex payment ecosystem, but it's much easier than before. However, it takes a lot of time, patience, efforts, and it requires a new set of skills to successfully manage a card issuing project, even digital. This is the reason why we at Visa we have specific teams dedicated to fintechs, and also we are building up partnerships with issuer processors, BIN sponsors like Contis to support the fintechs in issuing cards in a much more efficient way. So I guess you all know a little bit about Visa, even though sometimes if we ask at least consumer, or at least my friends, if we ask them about Visa, people tend to think we are a credit card company. We are not. We have never issued any single credit card since the creation of Visa. We are a tech company. So we basically enable players in the payment space by giving them access to our network and capabilities. So first of all, we have transformed our network into an open platform. We have also now very well established innovation centers to support our fintech partners to co-create new user experience together with Visa experts. And finally, we are investing and building new partnerships with the next generation of paytech companies. So how is Visa supporting the fintechs? So you understood that we provide instant access to our network, to the fintechs, and we also provide them with additional support, such as educational programs, because fintech needs to also to understand the four-party models, for instance, and the entire value chain. Resources within consulting and analytics. As I said earlier, we have a dedicated and local fintech team. This is a key asset, and we provide fintechs with different types of programs. For instance, we have this fast track program that has helped already more than 40 European fintech to launch cards in a very efficient and fast way. We have also launched another another program that we called Fintech Partner Connect, where it's like a marketplace. So Visa is selling fintech capabilities to our financial institutions or merchants, because financial institutions also understood that in some cases it's better to buy a service from a fintech rather than building a capability in-house from scratch. I also wanted to take the opportunity, or at least to bring to your attention, another program, which is called Visa Everywhere Initiatives. So if you are a startup and you know that your company can solve payments and commerce challenges of tomorrow, you should definitely enter our competition and apply before June 18th. So it's a global competition, and the finalists will receive a monetary prize so that they can use to invest in their company the way they want. So how are we driving the evolution of payments? It's obvious there is a clear acceleration towards digital payments with a growing number of ways to pay and to be paid. Visa ultimate goal is to act as a network of networks, so that connects payers and payees, regardless of which payment type and rail they use. So in practice, it means we are opening up valuable capabilities of our network to other payment flows. For example, expertise in the secure authentication of sellers and buyers to prevent fraud, and safe and efficient cross-border payments. Talking about trends, so what is shaping the next year in fintech? So you all have noticed that fintech innovation is playing a big role in our daily life, especially in the Nordic and the Baltic region. Our fintech clients are developing new solutions in areas such as digital banking, wallets, payroll, crypto, and commercial payment solutions. So looking ahead, here's our take on some key categories where fintechs are changing the payment game. Credit your way. I guess you all noticed that many fintechs start with a debit offering. Now we are seeing an interesting trend in credit. So this buy now, pay later has become the norm in many markets. As Erdas also mentioned earlier, neobanks. I would say that nowadays neobanks are creating the new community banks. They are increasingly creating new banking solutions that meets the needs of specific groups of communities that were underserved before. So the success of Klarna, Roker, or even Luna in the Nordics are good example of digital banking platforms that are focusing on improving consumer financial lives. Digital currency, this is definitely something that is very trendy. So many of our fintechs our clients are building products or that use digital currencies in some capacity. We are working with wallets and exchanges to enable users to purchase these currencies using their Visa credentials or to cash out onto a Visa account to make a purchase via traditional currency at any merchants where Visa is accepted. As of today, 35 global digital currency platforms and wallets have chosen to issue with Visa, including Coinbase, Crypto.com. Finally, the last trend is probably around digital wallets, which are the new generation of platforms. So working with digital wallets providers such as Clicks in Latvia, Mobile Pay in Denmark, or Vips in Norway to embed Visa credentials into third-party payment services is key for Visa in order to deploy interoperable payments, a system that will benefit consumer, merchants, and wallets. So I have to say that it's a privilege for us to serve the company that are creating these new payment flows and expanding the reach of financial services. We have also understood at Visa that the only way to remain relevant in the ecosystem is to partner with key players. That's it from my end. Do you have
Thank you.
any questions?
Thanks, Helen. I think I had one question. I mean, you touched upon this just now, but maybe to elaborate a little bit more. You explained a lot how Visa is supporting fintechs. Help me to understand why. I mean, why partner with fintechs? Why not, block them? And don't you see any threat in the future coming from fintech industry? Not like banking.
No, we act as an enabler of innovation. So even the financial institutions understood also the necessity sometimes to partner with fintechs. If I take the example of Mina Technology, which is a subscription management company, we almost start to sell their capabilities on their behalf to some financial institutions. So I think it's Visa, but also big financial institutions as well. They also understand that in many cases, it's smarter to partner rather than trying to do everything on your own.
Okay. I see. Thanks a lot. All right, thank you. And then let's move to Marius, who will talk about how to run successful card issuing project. Marius, the floor is yours.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So really happy to be here today and to speak about a very interesting topic of how to run successful cards issuing project. So just a few sentences about LAKARTA, which I'm representing at what we do. So we are a consulting company, and as you can guess by the name, we are specializing into payment cards and payments consulting. And in essence, we worked in Baltics in, I would say, clients of different sizes, starting from the largest banks, going to smaller processing centers, software providers, and just companies which plans to issue initial cards. So for today, I would try to share this experience and how to especially successfully issue your payment card. And I will provide some few sets of tips. And as a first set of tips, I would say that it is really important to separate and distinguish what kind of product you would like to achieve, that market reaction would be really positive and customers would be really happy and keen on seeing your product. So first thing is, of course, to really clearly define your target customers, as it happens quite often that our clients comes and aims to issue cards. So we ask who we are targeting, and answer is usually, well, everyone, because everyone can use the card, or if we are building some app. So again, through this payment schemes infrastructure, everyone can use the app. So, and we say that, okay, this is really also a good approach, and it's really good to have the scalability that many potential customers could use your product, but also we encourage to think from this a bit strategic perspective, who will be the very first customers who will be buying your product, which feedback you need to take into account into developing further your products, basically. And once you are separating this customer and you are clarifying who exactly your target customers are, so then we encourage to think about what kind of value additionally you are providing for them. So, for example, if your customers is people from the slide, so maybe you will have some kind of features such as educational features, parental controls, or so on. And in case you are aiming for their more traditional cars customers, their parents, grandparents, so most likely will be aiming for something like crediting schemas or maybe some kind of traveling insurances and so on. So then it's very good to think about this your customer and what value you provide additionally for them, and of course how you are better than next your competitor in the line. And from this slide, the last one I would say is quite practical one that we really seen in past, I would say 5 or even more years, that customers are demanding services immediately. They do not want to wait or clarify something. They want something here and now. And in practice, it usually translates to this self-service features. Usually it is in some kind of app or in some self-service portal where a customer can log in himself and change his limits, enable, disable some functions, block his card, order a new card, and so on. Because really no one any longer wants to wait in the line till someone from contact center will pick up. So this is a few just tips which I see mostly from this clarifying a product which Fintech is trying to issue. And to move on, once we are clarifying a product which we want to deliver to the market, it is very good to then distinguish how it will run in the background. Because we know that, especially if we are talking still about these old-fashioned plastical cards, so for customers, usually they look very much the same because maybe they are colored differently, branded differently, but in essence, they look very similar. But in the background, however, as we know, all systems-wise, everything runs very differently, and there is no two cards which will be the same. So out of my other presentations, I took just this one listed blocks, basically biggest blocks or areas which card issuer needs to think about while issuing a card. So today, for sure, we would not go into very details of each of them because it would require way too much time. But maybe one thing to consider yourself is, and usually what Fintech is thinking is which of these blocks to take in-house and develop themselves, and which one to outsource and partner up with someone who already have this knowledge. So one of the points to consider when you are making this decision is actually knowledge which you have internally and what kind of experts you have. Because if now your core area of business is, let's say, lending money, some kind of crediting scheme, scoring clients, and you do not work in payments, so then maybe it makes sense more for you to just outsource these functions and allow some partners to help you to issue, let's say, credit card, which would just help customers to reach their credit lines. Or, of course, vice versa. In case your main area of business is making payments, so then maybe it makes sense to use your experts or maybe hire some additional resources just to have this knowledge in-house to launch payments and provide payment card services. One more thing to consider, which of these components insource versus outsource, is current systems which you have. And of course, systems integratability is a very huge topic, which we could talk for quite a long time. But just to mention that in cards, what is especially important is systems availability. As you know, and you can imagine when you're using your card and you are going to the supermarket or buying online, you expect it to work absolutely always and every time. So for customers, also and for our clients, which comes, I usually offer to have this kind of self-control question. How long have you been down, let's say during the last 3 months or during last year? And if answer is, well, several times, couple of hours each, then I would recommend to consider if it is really okay to put cards infrastructure on top of that, or rather you can consider some kind of processing center which has maybe higher availability and so on. And one more key point to make is compliance and regulatory requirements. Because if we would look in this list, so also we have this personalization process, Well, it means that basically individualizing card for each of the customer, like writing his name, surname, also writing into magnetic stripe and chip what is needed that, well, card technically would work. So this process technically is requires very high level of physical security requirements, right? You need special premises, you need special procedures, who can enter these premises, when, and so on. So if you will be just aiming to start issuing your new cards, it is very likely that you would partner up with someone who already have this knowledge, who already have these capabilities, and so on. So this is just about, of course, personalization, but it's applicable to other areas from this green list as well, that always to consider that each of these functions has some kind of a compliance burden, regulatory burden. So to consider, would you like to take it on your own shoulders, or you would like to partner up with someone who already has these capabilities, basically. And as we are talking about the partners, it is also, of course, then very obvious question how to select a good partner, right? And from clients, also one question which raises and their view that usually they say that, oh, we are planning to select the big partners, the reliable companies who has a good track record of business. So I always say that, well, this is probably very correct thinking, and bigger companies usually has a better track record, but also please don't forget that to think from your potential partner perspective. If you will be just out of one of his tens of or even hundreds of clients, will this partner be able to take some kind of extra efforts when you need them? For example, if you find some kind of bugs, can they quickly fix it? Or we will need to wait somewhere in the queue and it will be released, let's say, next month, and so on. So this is just one thing to consider, this reliability versus flexibility, I would say. Another thing is with your partner's strategic view. For example, if you are planning to step into some kind of market in the country which has Emergency Act requirements to keep her customers' data within physical boundaries in the same country, and you're using processing center services which are planning to go into cloud solutions within 1 year. So without even thinking, you could become non-compliant, which of course is then quite a big issue for you. So we always suggest just to sit down with your partners and to strategically discuss what kind of action each of them are planning to take, and to align your vision with your partner's vision to make sure that you are going into the same direction. And last one, also practical tip is once you're approaching new partners, and especially their sales teams, usually everyone has a very high level of flexibility and they can integrate anything with anything. So one thing is, of course, to consider critically, can they do it in promised times? And of course, another thing is to think about maintenance later. For example, if you are integrating two partners, you need to consider which of the partner will be responsible for maintaining integration, updating this integration, like SLAs of this integration, and of course, how much it will cost for you. Because sometimes maybe it's better just to take some out-of-the-box solutions rather than to ask some kind of developed for your own sake. And to move to the third and last one of my slides. So basically, once you are defining your product, how you wish that it would look like, once you are strategically thinking what will run behind the scenes of this product, it is very important also the way or the approach how you will reach this final state of your product. And also, as you know, sometimes clients comes and they have a vision for this very, very best payment card or payment card, some kind of app in the phone, and they aim to release this product as a whole to the market to have some kind of big announcement for it. But also, this is, of course, possible approach, and we've done it in the past quite successfully. But when possible, we offer also to think about this step-by-step approach. The ones who are more into project management will, of course, know this is so-called agile approach, is to think about developing your products incrementally. It means that in case you are just planning to release it in the future, so to first of all release minimal marketable product, and then in iterations update it till you reach this state of having best full-scale product, best full functionality for your customers. In this case, you can gather this quick feedback basically for your product. You can adapt it. You can understand what your customers like, doesn't like, And you can also like market for your customers that you are developing it, and in this case, customers are feeling that you are also caring about them. And also one more areas that, as we talked, that in case you are planning to launch your card, most likely you will partner up with some players which are already in the market. So we found in practice very often that in the same partners, different departments are hardly communicating. For example, developers are not really talking with testers and so on. And it is even more rare to find that different partners, developers are communicating with one another and not blaming that this partner should have done that and this should have done that. So it is always helps to separate these responsibilities between different partners as clearly as possible. And then, of course, this is a bit of cliche saying, but making communication lines as clear as possible between partners usually really helps to achieve smooth result and to go to market in timely manner. So basically, from my side, that's it for now. So thanks everyone, and now I think we will move to questions and answer sessions. And in case you would like to, you can also join me via LinkedIn anytime you like to talk about cards.
Thanks, Marius. Maybe one quick question for you before we jump into general Q&A session. Do you see any crypto payment cards in the horizon for Lithuanian market? Are there any potential projects?
In Lithuanian market, maybe this crypto trend didn't come yet, but I think it will for sure come. As in other markets, we see that there is already some products which has ability to like not only somehow transfer monies into euros, dollars, or conventional, I would say, currencies. So I would say that most likely it will come also in Lithuania because we are also following this global trends. And it is, I would expect basically in a few years' time to see some kind of crypto cards as well to be offered for customers.
Okay, thanks. So maybe then question to, actually I have a question which probably goes to all participants, and it's very simple and silly question, so bear with me. What's your best advice? So for example, I'm running a company which plans to issue like 5,000 payment cards. How to do that? What's the best way to do that? You know, I've heard all these buzzwords about BIN sponsoring, you know, issuing, processing, how to make sense out of it and really to understand, does it even make sense to issue that small number of cards? Is it profitable business at all in the future, or?
Yeah, so I can take it if I may. So since we have a very different size of customers, so I can share from insights. I would say if we are talking about 5,000 cards, so the key question, and also what Marius briefly touched, is to define yourself. What are you going to achieve with those cards at all? Is it even worth issuing them? If you're just copy pasting someone else, probably you will not be successful. But if you have very good idea how to create added value for your 5,000 users within your ecosystem, then that is worth considering. And since the amount of cards it's relatively small in the industry, I would recommend to find a partner who can do it on behalf of you, so that you don't need to hire extensive team of many experts, buy expensive technology, so you can just outsource it straight away. And so that would be my suggestion for that scale of opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, same advice. In a way, I think it's also good sometimes to work with fintechs who want to start a bit small, because there are also, when we talk with many fintechs, they all want to conquer the world, which is great, with very high projections when it comes to the number of cards, and we all want these fintechs to be successful. But the best way sometimes is to start maybe a pilot or start in one country only. And the best way here is definitely to partner with, as you say, this buzzword, but a bean sponsor, so someone, a company who can issue cards on the behalf of the fintech. This is the most relevant way to start a business.
Okay, thanks. We have one question from the viewers. Gatis Ditsmanis is asking, do you see instant payments as a cheaper alternative for cards? Kind of as they have kind of achieving card-like processing speed and customer experience probably. And maybe if I may a little bit expand on this question, I think just recently it was announced that there is a European banking initiative to create an alternative network to existing payments card network. So how do you feel about the future for the payment card schemes and networks?
So I could also maybe start on that one. So I feel that in essence, yes, of course, instant payments technologically seems to provide similar value to customers. But of course, in this like ecosystem in cards, we have such that we have a lot of acquirers who accepts already cards. We have also on our side a lot of card holders which have these cards. And in instant payments, of course, it might technologically provide these benefits, but at least yet, I wouldn't say that in the market we have so much participants who can accept this. And this is always, this chicken and egg problem, which goes first. Is it like end customers has it, or where is this acceptance, basically? So this is one issue. But of course, this is a bit interesting technology, and it will be interesting how it will be, modified in the future and how it will evolve.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to our RTP, so real-time payment strategy, we are mainly focusing on delivering value-added services to an existing or future RTP infrastructure, so such as tokenization, authentication, fraud reduction, and dispute resolution. So that's I don't believe that. I mean, both payment rails can coexist. This is definitely not an issue or a problem for us, and that's also the reason why we have partnered with VIPS, which is a digital wallet that are using account-to-account payment combined with other use cases, and they use also Visa card rails, for instance. So I think the combination of both is probably the future.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would agree because, for example, we at Contis, we offer different kind of payment rails, not only cards. We also offer SEPA payments or faster payments, but still, what we see it's basically those other kind of initiatives. They are not that feature rich as the cards are, and they are not as convenient as the card are. And as Marius and Helena pointed. Card network are already established, and it's very easy to launch and go and use them everywhere. And for instant payments, you have to build there. You have to see where it's available. Is it at all available? So for the current being, its card is absolutely a favor in terms of convenience and availability across the world. So currently there's no better alternative.
Okay, thanks. One more question, which is very small, but I'm just curious about that. When Irida showed those cards and mentioned that, some customers are ordering real gold-plated cards and real silver-plated cards. Why the hell? I mean, your card is anyway now on the phone, right? And you hardly pull it out for the payment. So how does it work as a marketing tool? Explain to me.
Yeah, that's a good one. Since I showed it, let me explain. Logically, if we view it logically, as Paul just explained, probably it doesn't make much sense. But the human nature is somehow not always logical, and sometimes people like just fancy cards. Okay, this one is not golden. It could be golden, and they want to feel it, and they want to show off and to show their status. So then they order like gold-plated cards, and it's beyond logic. That's, I would say, it's more a kind of trendy and status thing. So yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like watches.
Yeah, you're right.
Sometimes it's a way to show where in which social category you belong to.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you check the time on your phone anyway, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes forget to set the proper time on the watch.
Okay.
And the time zone switches. Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. So I guess we run out of questions. I don't see any other questions from the audience. Do you have any maybe closing remarks from each of you?
I mean, maybe one closing remark from my side. I just, and as an advice, because I'm having conversations with very different type of companies and who already are in the card issuing space and also who are still thinking. And just my advice would be, just to think it creatively, what added value you can bring. And if we look historically, that cards were bank issued products, it was very narrow mandate focus, and it was very low features as payment. That's it. Nowadays there are so much you can do with the card, so much value you can do with your customer, and card can be the tool how you differentiate in the market and how you increase even your revenue for either not necessarily from the card product but from your core business offering. So I would say to look at the card more creatively, not just a payment tool where you bring with yourself or in the phone. Yeah, that would be my advice.
Okay. All right, then thank you very much. It's been real pleasure to have all of you here. Ellen, Marius, Airidas.
Likewise.
It's been a short but interesting event. Thanks, Rocket, for hosting us, and hopefully see you next time somewhere in another event. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you for inviting.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.